Alright, so that was a little bit of look at the revival options as I was recording this fight here to try and see what loot might drop from him. But as you can see, and this is something that's been a point of contention, and I've seen the streams, or I've seen the screenshots. I haven't seen anyone die live, so I've only seen screenshots of how that screen looks, that you can revive from your corpse, and I was wondering if there was any kind of drawback to it, and to be honest, it doesn't look like there is. I revived at my corpse, I revived with full hit points. I revived with pretty much the spirit I had when I died, so my resource didn't even get taken away from me. This guy's hitting me hard. Jeebus. This guy hits hard. I mean, it's only through sheer pride alone right now that I want to dodge what he's doing and make sure I don't die. Even though I failed the first time. Yeah, so nothing really great from him. So I would say when it comes to death, I like the fact that there's not any super harsh penalties, right? Experience loss, for example, I was never a big fan of. It was just one of those terrible feelings when it happened. Even worse in games like Final Fantasy XI, which was, kind of hard to compare because that's an MMO, but you could de-level in that game, and I didn't like that idea. So, and honestly, experience loss, once you get to max level, you shouldn't really lose experience because, you shouldn't be able to de-level. So once you hit max level, experience loss doesn't punish anybody that's at the maximum level. So I don't see that being an applicable punishment. But I would say that Diablo 3 before on softcore kind of had it down. I think dying and then having to go back is plenty enough of a drawback to dying. Being able to just pop right back up where you stood. Look, I understand that there's hardcore for the true challenge of trying to stay alive, but look, I fully admit I suck too much to do hardcore. I just can't stay alive. I'm just not, for some reason, I'm not good at it. I managed to die. I either get cocky or just not paying attention, and it's on me. Yes. But so whereas I don't want to play hardcore because I don't want that super hard punishment on me, I don't want to just be able to say, oh, I died, let's pop right back up with my corpse. I mean, because what that does is that means in things like a boss fight, you have to, when you're fighting a boss, you can just pop right up. And part of the challenge of some bosses was being able to take them down, because if you died during a boss, then you had to start all over again. So I'm gonna have to try that when I'm fighting the Skeleton King to see if I can just pop right up, and if I can, I'll be a bit disappointed, because honestly, durability loss is not a big deal when it comes to death. That's not enough punishment for me to care. So if I could just sit there and zerg down a boss because I can just respawn over and over again, or the same thing with an elite pack, something has to give. You have to lose something, or else it's meaningless. You might as well make me invulnerable, and it won't get the feeling of accomplishment as much. I read the blue post where they said they would rather reward survival than punish death, but really, punishment of some sort, some kind of negative effect to make you realize, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. I mean, it's been in games since the beginning of them. The Super Mario Brothers, man, you die and you go back. That's not even the earliest game, but that's like the home console that a lot of people started with. You die, you go back to the beginning of the stage, you got to start over, or you had a checkpoint. And you got plenty of checkpoints in this game. Look, send me back to the last checkpoint. Allow me to choose between the checkpoint and town. One or the other. And that's good enough. because I can always walk back to where I was. Make it so I have to start a boss fight again. A boss fight should be a challenge. You're going to lose that epicness if you don't. So I don't quite agree with this. I think this is taking it too far in the other direction, quite honestly. So I don't know if they're going to change that. I'm hoping that maybe with enough feedback they will, because really, while I agree with them on most things, on you really shouldn't punish people too much. You know, you really don't want to offer super negative gameplay. You know, reward good gameplay rather than punish bad gameplay too much. I understand that, and I can kind of agree with certain points on that. But I just don't think I can agree with having absolutely no penalty to death other than the durability. I mean, that's bad. You know, certainly that was kind of bad, but the worst part about dying usually was having to run back. And even then, you could cheapen it by going to a waypoint and spawning at that waypoint over and over again. I've done that. You know, when I got frustrated at an enemy, I did it. I was a little cheap on it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take you back to the waypoint, and I'm just going to keep you on top of it, and I'm going to keep killing you, or keep damaging you until you die. And, you know, I fully admitted it was cheap. But now that I can do it anywhere, and again, I'll check it on a boss fight. I will get to the Skeleton King, and I will see if it allows me to continue going. I don't know if I like that. And even worse, I'd have to see how it is in multiplayer, because when you died in a boss fight, one of the intense things that I had, like I remember a very intense fight with Magda where everybody in my party died, and if it was to the point where all of us could die and then just resurrect and fight her again, this epic moment would never have happened. Everybody in my party died. I'm sitting there fighting Magda, and I was able to avoid a lot of her skills, but I knew the next time she summoned her minions, I was probably going to die, because they were one-shotting people left and right. So I had to run around and wait for her to do something, and like wait for her to do an ability, and then I would run around her pillars until I could get back to a teammate and try and revive them. And then I was able to get my teammates back up, and we ultimately killed her. You know, we weren't really geared up to fight her in that capacity, because I believe this was before they took off the monster's damage increase when you had a party. So it was a very difficult fight for us at the time. And it was just this awesome feeling of, oh my god, if I die, this fight is over, and we got to start all over, and we had already gotten her down to like 25% health, and I'm like, oh, we need to get this. And so we kept at it, and I just kept reviving people every chance I got, because they'd keep dying. And it was the best feeling to overcome that and to win. So, you know, you talk about don't punish. Great, fine. But if there is no punishment at all, like, I understand, no harsh punishment, great. No experience loss, no level down. All I got to do is restart. That's the basics, usually, of dying in a video game. Great. But the sense of accomplishment, those tough battles where you say to yourself, oh my gosh, that was an awesome fight because we were able to overcome the obstacle. If you don't have an obstacle to overcome, then what is the point? What are you doing at that point? Again, I fully recognize that I could get that feeling from hardcore. But in hardcore, if I slip up, I lose all my progress. I don't want to go to that extreme. I don't want this to be a choice of one extreme or the other, because that's what it is right now. And I do not agree with that. Not at all. All right. I mean, some people may have thought that the death penalty before was too lenient, but that's nothing compared to this. I fully disagree with this decision, and it is beta. It is beta. It is completely possible that they reverse this decision, and I'm hoping they do. So, ladies and gentlemen, while this was not intended to be a discussion about difficulty in Diablo 3, certainly that's what it turned into, and I would like to hear your feedback and what you guys think. Do you like the fact that it's a little more lenient in softcore? I have a feeling most of you won't. And if not, what do you feel would be an appropriate, I don't want to say punishment, but a setback? You know, what would be an appropriate issue to make you not want to die, other than permadeath, obviously, because that exists again in hardcore. Because there should be something there. I honestly think the way they had it before was not bad. Now, it might have been too much. I mean, there was a time when elites would regenerate all their health after they were out of combat for a while. That, I'm torn on. That might not have been too bad, because at the same time, they included the whole enrage timer thing, which meant they were doing a lot of damage over time to you if you didn't kill them fast enough. That might have been too much. If they would have had the regeneration after you died, so that you either had the choice then. If they regenerate after you died, and you were out of combat with them, then you either had to choose to go back and try again, or you had to basically skip them. And that's not necessarily a bad choice. I mean, it sucks to have to skip an elite pack at times, but it makes me feel like that would have been an appropriate issue to have to deal with, to make you decide, okay, do I keep throwing myself at this, or is this just becoming too severe? I'm of two minds on that one, because it kind of sucked to have to deal with that with certain packs, because they could be exceptionally difficult. And the truth of the matter is groups had an advantage in that scenario, because groups could just basically keep throwing themselves at it and making sure that one person lived. So in a way, it was one of those things where it kind of punished solo play, rather than... It wasn't really a punishment in general, it was just a solo play punishment. You basically were rewarded for being in a group, and not everybody wants to play in a group. Let's face it. So maybe that would be a bit much, but maybe the way it is right now, on live, on vanilla D3, maybe that's just right for softcore. Again, I want to hear your thoughts, because this one, I normally don't, you guys know, I mean, while I usually enjoy things and I can get passionate about certain things, this is kind of, I would say, the first negative mark that I've been overly, that I've, like just kind of felt this strongly about when it comes to this game. You know, a lot of people don't like a lot of decisions that happen in D3, and maybe even here in Reaper, but this one, again, I think maybe just that one step too far. I still absolutely like what I'm playing so far. I'm enjoying this beta, and I know I'm going to get Reaper of Souls. I just don't want this decision to go forward. So, again. Alright, let me know. I've rambled a bit longer than I intended there right at the end, but that's okay. I will see you guys next time when I get my fight with Leoric.